Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back. It's time for another crafting PhD, which if you don't know what that stands for, it stands for Project Half Done, and I have lots and lots of those in my craft stash, but today we're going to do one that's a fairly recent half-done project. On Wednesday I did the mystery craft where we did distress embossing glaze backgrounds, and so I want to go ahead and decorate these guys up. And to save some time, I've gone ahead and made some decisions and pulled some stuff out. There's still going to be more tweaking to be done on them, but I figured I should at least get a start on them going. So for this first one, I've pulled out some dies, and what I've got is, this one is Spencer 666001, and that's Tim Holtz and Sizzix, and I didn't use a die from that set. And I used the greenery from the two Vault Wreath dies that came out this year. So I've got Vault Foliage Wreath, which is 666682, and Funky Floral Wreath, which is 666563, to cut these guys out. And then the crow came from the Vault Gothic Portraits, which is 666681. A lot of sixes there. So what I did was I decided, and this was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest, or a couple things I saw on Pinterest. I'll go back and see if I can find like links, but I've seen a bunch of cards using Spencer, doing various things with him, and so I don't know if this was one card or a couple cards that I'm combining ideas from for the layout on this one, but we're gonna put Spencer at the bottom. We're gonna have black greenery sticking out, and I forgot there was something else I want to do. So I need to go grab that here in a second. So we're going to just, sprinkle around black greenery underneath him and glue those down, just to make like an interesting little spot for where he's sitting on. So I want it like really full of greenery over here. Let me grab my tweezers, which I don't know where I put. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. This is going to be so very fiddly to glue. What I'm going to do is kind of go like this. Add a little glue to the back of him. Go, okay, those two should be about there. That's going there. And this one's going to go like so. Check it out. Adjust before it dries completely. Kind of like that. All right, let's move everybody out of the way. This way we can kind of judge as we're going along. Make sure we still like what we're doing. That one. I think I'm gonna, yep, let's glue that in that gap. So yeah, we're just kind of fiddling with our placement, kind of putting it in place, figuring it out, and then flipping and gluing it to the back of him. So there's our Spencer sitting on a bunch of black foliage. Gonna stick Mr. Crow on his head, but I also wanted to add a couple flowers. So I went ahead and die cut out from Tim Holtz and Sizzix the Brushstroke Flowers Mini 666284, and I did the purple one, and I die cut it out of some purple stress inked papers I had. So I think they're gonna go there, but let's assemble them so we can make sure that's where we like them. And there are little indents on the biggest piece to show you basically where to put the layering piece. So hopefully I won't get my head in the way, because yeah, they're a little hard to see. Probably should have figured out which way this guy goes before I put glue on it. And I usually try and keep this handy because it's usually a little bit easier to figure it out if you look at the photo. And then we've got the two little center bits. And we're just gonna put a dot of glue. Kind of there. Stick this piece there. Do the same with this little guy. And so this is, in case you're unfamiliar, it's a quick stick made by, this one's by Quick Cuts. I've got another one somewhere that I don't know who it's made by, but there are a variety of these types of tools out on the market. And it just has essentially a sticky stuff at the end. So it helps pick up those little pieces and lets you place them down. And then it has, this comes out so that you can use it to press your piece into place. And I find this to be a very, very handy tool when dealing with teeny tiny pieces. All right, so I think I like those. I feel like I want another leaf, and I think I've got, over here, I've got a stash of die cut bits, and one of the leafy bits cut out a leaf like this too. So maybe we stick that there. You do not care for that. All right. I think we're ready to glue down this fellow. Just putting a little on the edges of the leaves to help them stick down so that they don't flap up too much. But I'm not being too particular about it. Do this so that I don't, if there's glue seepage, it doesn't end up on my hands, and or any smush on my hands doesn't end up on the piece. I feel like maybe more flowers, because I ended up cutting it out 3 times so I could get 3 different colors. So maybe, well, 2 at a partial time because the piece of paper I cut out for the center bit wasn't quite big enough. But that might actually work out because or just cut that one off altogether and glue this piece on. Let's try that. Let's see how we like that. Grab our scissors, so don't be afraid to edit your die cuts, because I think if we do a 3rd flower like that, that will work better, and it just needs a center. All right, I think that'll work. So let's go ahead and glue this set down. Actually, no, let's go ahead and glue this one underneath. So where we edited, because it's a little harsh of an edge, is less noticeable. All right, that one is done. Now I will probably back this to help flatten it out because it's a little curvy from all of the wet inks we put on it last time, but I really like how that guy came out. All right, for this next one, I've pulled some stuff out already. I've got one of the Tim Holtz people. I have no idea which set he is from. I've also got some bat wings from this year's Transparencies by Tim Holtz and Ideology, and I am gonna cut them apart so I can have more of the wings showing around him. This is a 49N market ticket, and I need to grab my paper trimmer, which is actually right next to me, because I want to cut it in half because it's a little too wide. And don't worry, I know it's very light in color. We're going to add some ink to it to change how it looks so that it fits our creepy vibe a little bit better. Just going to hack it in half. I'll save this for another project. And then I've also got the Tim Holtz sticker book, and this is from probably 2022, and I'm going to pull some words out to go along there. And I've grabbed Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous. This is Sketch Manor CMS 408, because I think we need some more bats, because there's not enough bats here. So I'm going to add some bats with stamping up in that area. So let's start with that. For this, I'm gonna do my Misties since we got like Micas and all kinds of inks and stuff going on in the background. I'm probably gonna want to stamp more than once. So let's do that. And we'll just stick that down there. Like so. Grab some. I think I'm gonna go VersaFine, because it stamps very nicely. And I've got it in Onyx Black, and I'm gonna ink up my image. I'm just gonna be careful after I stamp because it's gonna take a minute for this to dry. Oh yeah, I like how that came out. That works. All right. Clean that off in a minute. Move my Misty out of the way. Bring over our little boy. And I also want to add from the sticker book, I'm going to put a mask on him. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to grab one of the masks. Let's grab a pokey tool and try and poke out the eyes centers before I pull it off, because that always gets me into trouble. I'm also going to add glue to it just because these aren't very sticky, possibly because they're so old. But I find I end up handling more than I want, and that didn't even come out. And so they end up getting less and less sticky before I even get them on. So let's get rid of that. No idea where it went. I'm trying to find my tweezers, which seem to have gotten eaten by my desk. That should make it a little bit easier to hold, and I'm going to add some glue. And now I'm going to take scissors and just cut down the middle between the bat wings and decide the best position coming out from him. So let's do that, and we'll just add some glue back here. Now let's grab a scratch piece of paper, this, and some ink. Let's do Hickory Smoke. And there's a part of me saying in my head that I should also add the bat stamp to it, that I should stamp the bats on there, and I may do that. All right, let's grab this and go like so we can darken it, and I may get some black soot in here. So I think color-wise I'm good, but the edges need to be inked, so let's grab black soot and a dauber, And do a decent amount of inking on the edges. So yeah, we took this and turned it into that. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have pre-purchased ephemera bits like this, you can always alter them by just adding a little bit of ink. All right, I am gonna take this bat stamp, I'm gonna put it on a block, ink it with my Versamark again, VersaFine again in black onyx. So he's gonna go there with his elbow leaning. Let's go ahead and glue the ticket to him. And I'm having him stand on like this little bit of texture paste we just added on there. Let's make sure his wing's in front. I think I'm gonna add something across here. I'm changing my mind as we go because I was gonna stick some of the word stickers down here, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. These are Vintage Halloween word labels by Saturday Stamper, and I will leave a link to this down below. See if we can pull his foot up just a little. And stick it going that way. But the color's off. I know, I'm looking at it, I'm like, don't like the color. So we're gonna grab, let's start with some milled lavender and ink over top of that to get it kind of a purpley tinge. So the same trick works for digitals. If you have a digital that's just not quite the right color, don't be afraid to add a little ink and change it up. All right, I think I need to go slightly different shade of purple. I'm going to be very careful and judicious in adding some Villainous Potion because that stuff is really dark. So I'm gonna put a very small amount on the brush and start off and just kind of color's not a perfect match, but it's close enough. And I'm gonna ink edges and add it on. And there's one more thing I want to do. I'm sorry for the glare. There's a bit of shine to obviously the wings and the Tim Holtz people. So I've got a Copic marker. I've got V15. So I just want to make his bow tie have a little bit of a hint of purple to it. Alcohol-based markers are the quickest way to add a little bit of color to your Tim Holtz people. So just a touch of color to him. All right, he's done. Okay, for this guy, what I've got is another Tim Holtz person. Yes, I'm very Tim Holtz people-y heavy in this video, mostly because I have so many stinking Tim Holtz people and I need to use them. I've also die cut out 2 spiders from that same set as the Raven came from our first one, because I'm going to have spider legs coming out of his back on either side. So this one's gonna go on this side. So let's go ahead and just trim off the part we don't need. Add a little glue and add it to him. Four legs coming out on this side. And then on the other side, I'm gonna flip it over and have those legs coming out. So let's trim like this, and then I'm gonna cut off that extra build leg we don't need. So add some glue on here. He's a Spider-Man, but not in the good kind of way, in the creepy kind of way. All right, so we got that. This is a little too light colored, and it's just a clean off sheet of paper. I have a book that I clean off stamps onto, and then I get inky bits for using on projects. Let's go hickory smoke again. I also want to get a little spider webby, so I've got some cheesecloth that I've dyed. So I'm going to add a little bit of that as well. And then the spider venom is a digital by Citrus Journal. And I will leave links to all of the digitals I may use on this project down below so that you can find them if you're interested. It's going to go like that. And then I want to add a little bit of this. Let's cut a piece off. And I may end up making it even smaller. But I'm just kind of pulling it apart to rough it up a bit. And have that go there. So yeah, we don't need all of this. I am going to use Fabri-Tac for gluing that down. Everything else, I think I forgot to say, I'm using art glitter glue. You, of course, can use whatever glues you like. I like Fabri-Tac for my fabric pieces because it adheres faster than with art glitter glue, but art glitter glue will glue fabrics. It just takes a little bit longer for them to stay, and that's now stuck to my finger. And this is clogged. I don't feel the need to glue it all the way down, just enough to not have it sticking out everywhere. And I did that and I realized now I wanted to ink the edges on this. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll use my black soot for that. All right, and this also needs, the color needs to be altered. So again, bring back a scrap piece of paper and our brush. This one's got a little bit of Villainous Potion on it. Let's get a little bit more. All right, let's bring everybody back over. That's gonna go kind of there. That will go like so. He will go top like that. All right, let's glue everything down. All right, so I'm probably gonna stick a little bit more of the Fabri-Tac down just to keep it from crumpling up, because I don't want it all bunched up. I want it more spread out like a spider web. There we go. That one's all done. Now for this one, I'm definitely going to turn her into a witch using the sticker book. So first, let's pop out those pieces. And I really love this background, so I'm probably going to keep it fairly simple just because I don't want to cover up too much of the background. I'm having a bit of a think here, because I think what I may want to do is add some textury bits to her dress. And what I need to get to some other stuff. So I'll be right back. Okay, so first what we need to do is very carefully cut out her hands so that I can have them on top of what I'm gonna do on her skirt. So I'm gonna grab my Fiskar fingertip trimmer and I am going to trim around her hand. So there we go, we've lifted out her hand there. And I'm gonna do the hand in the book over here. All right, so her hands are now detached, because now what we can do is Start with the piece I already had. Let's put that down as a bottom layer down here. I'm not gonna put a ton of glue because I don't want it glued down. I just want it tacked on. Let's cut another piece off of the dyed cheesecloth and do another layer like across here. And we'll do another layer, kind of getting narrower so that it goes to her waist. And this layer, we're gonna tuck her arms over. So we're gonna go kind of here and across like so. Oh, I like this. All right, so I'm gonna add a little glue over here. And let's add a little glue right there just to keep it over to that side because it keeps bunching up. And now I want to add a bit of black lace, I think. And I'm pretty sure I have more black lace somewhere. So let's add, maybe tuck under here, a piece of black lace like so. All right, I'm gonna cut it off and then we'll tweak it. It's a little different, so let's cut a piece of that off as well. I'm pretty sure I've got more black lace somewhere and I'm just not sure where that is. I've done quite a bit of reorganization when I redid my craft room and I'm not entirely sure where everything is yet. Like I still haven't gotten used to the organized space. All right, so this piece we're gonna just kind of scrunch up. I'm gonna do a line of glue across to just scrunch it up on. Just kind of scrunching it, sticking it down in the glue, holding it for a sec, let it grab. All right, that's gonna need a smidge more glue because it's popping up on me. I'm gonna grab a silicone spatula to help hold it down. Bunched up and now it's like not laying nicely, so we may need to put a little bit of more glue and kind of go like so. Hold that for a sec and then that'll go down on top, and then we'll do another layer of ruffle black lace across here. So just kind of fiddling around till I get it kind of how I like it. I am going to take some scissors, and there's just a little white bit from when I cut it out that's kind of bugging me. The same over here. She's gonna go like that. And there needs to be something at the top. So let me scrounge around. And we can just add a bit of that, and I'll wrap it behind her so we'll have clean edges to clean off, to give us a nice clean transition between the top and the bottom. So let's cut a piece a little bit longer than we're gonna need. Put a little glue on the front. Poke it through like that and like that. Okay, let's get her a witch's hat. I feel like I need to put something on the book. Oh, if it wasn't so big, I'd put Wonders of a Witch on there, but it's gonna be too big. But there's a 13th, which I think will fit on there. Grab a witch hat, and since this is last year's set, yeah, this is the 2023. So I've got 2 books going, and I was trying to do better about maybe using up the older one first, but I don't know where I stuck it. All right. So we're going to put a little tick mark there and a little tick mark there so that we can cut a slit into the hat and get it on her head. Although I may want to adjust where that slit is. Yeah, that slit should be way up higher, which is fine because the bit I cut out incorrectly will get hidden or cut off. All right. Hopefully I'm not going to have a bunch showing in the back that I don't want showing. Let's take that off. Get this on her head. All right, that works. I'm going to add a little glue to the back of her head. There's a spot there that is bugging me, so let me see. Let's grab a pen and just come in and there we go. It's no longer showing bright white. All right, we're gonna glue her down. Oh, let's put the sticker on before we forget. It's too big. No. Okay, we've got a 31, so maybe the 31 will fit. Okay, so I am going to trim this up to make it fit. It will fit. And it needs a topper, so I am going to grab something to go on top. Let's see, what do we want? Got some coffee dyed seam binding, or ink dyed seam binding. I think I'm gonna cut a little bit off and I'm gonna punch a hole in the top and thread it through. So I'm just gonna use my crocodile and use the bigger hole. And I'm gonna use my easy beater because it makes it so much easier to thread stuff through holes. And so this one we're gonna keep fairly simple in that we're just gonna add the Tim Holtz lady and the background. But we did jazz her up quite a bit. So there we go. That one's done. Okay, so we're back to finish up with decorating these guys. And if you notice a difference in the lighting, it's probably two things. One, I'm trying a different position for my light, and two, it is storming outside, so it's gotten a lot darker outside. All right, so I've gone ahead and made pretty much all the decisions for the remaining ones so that we can knock these out, because I started editing the first part of this video and it's getting long. So I would like to try and keep this to a manageable length. Grabbing just a scratched piece of paper because, as you know, I'm gonna probably do some inking on top of these guys. Let's change the color of this piece for sure. I think I want to bring in some gray. Grab hickory smoke. And then I'm going to ink the edges, and I think I'm going to go Villainous Potion for that. Then I'm just going to glue everything down, but before we glue down everything, I'm going to decapitate the little boy and give him a pumpkin head, and this is the Tim Holtz pumpkin head. Because what I want to do is I want to set it down into the collar. So we're going to take his head off and set that aside. And glue the pumpkin head to there. But I'm noticing a little white, so I'm just going to grab a pen. Oh, I grabbed a Sharpie. That'll work. I'm just going to run the pen along here to disguise any white that might be showing. Grab my glue. Glue our pumpkin head to our little Tim Holtz person. That just tickles me. All right, so this piece is going down, and mostly to disguise the white that's showing. That's why I decided on this piece for there. And this is a digital by Citrus Journal Studio. And that guy's done, and that just is hilarious. Okay, next we got these guys. I do want to adjust the color on the sentiment there, so let's pull out with a little Villainous Potion. Now for the moth, knocking things everywhere. For the moth wings, what I want to do is cut them apart, because I'm going to have one set of wings coming out from this side and the other coming out from him. So let's go ahead and glue those on. Set them aside for a sec, and I want to work on these two pieces because I think they need a little bit of color. Not a little bit of color, a little bit of shine to go with the sparkly bits on the background. So I've pulled out Distress Mica stains in Iron Gate and Ominous Twilight. I'm going to mix them up, and I'm just going to grab a paintbrush and paint some of it on. Dip my paintbrush into the mica. Try not to knock the mica over. So there we go. Now we've got a bit of sparkle to that. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to set that paintbrush aside because I did not think to grab water. So I'm going to need to clean that up later. Grab another paintbrush and do the Ominous Twilight on the purple wreath. And those are from the new Vault die set. I forget what its name is, which I mentioned it earlier because I used the leaves from it for one of the other pieces we did. And now what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the purple one, spray some water on this block to get this brush wet, and splatter some of the Ominous Potion on that one, and do the same thing for the iron gate on the purple one. Now these are not ideal brushes for splattering, but I figure I've got the paint on them. I might as well use it. Now because these guys are so wet right now, they're kind of curling up, so I'm gonna pull out my heat gun and heat the bejesus out of them. All right, now that they're dry, we can go ahead and assemble. All right, let's put the spooky and scared down. And the butterflies that you are seeing on screen are a die by Poppy Stamps. Let's bring our two little boys over. Just set it down. I'm not pressing it down because I want to make sure it's positioned right with regards to where the little boys are going to go. And now I'm going to stick the boys down. And anywhere I think the wreath needs more gluing, I will do that in a sec, because that's the one problem with using embossing glazes. Gluing on top of them, not always the easiest thing. I'm going to stick a block on here to hold them on and start adding some butterflies. As I'm doing this, I'm realizing I should have gotten a fifth one because odd numbers are more visually appealing, and I only grabbed 4 butterflies. All right, I'm gonna have to grab another butterfly out. All right, this one's done. All right, so we got this charming couple, and what we're gonna do first is add some ink to this ticket so that the white edges aren't showing. Mostly I want to cover up this weird pink splodge spot. I'm just gonna cut off the bottom of this since we're not going to use all of it. These are the Tim Holtz Wildflower dies. Now, what I think I want to do, I don't want to put the little boy's head there that we cut off. And over his face, I want to add one of the skull stickers. I'm just trying to decide if I want to put a little slit in her hands, and I think I do, so that I can tuck the head under her hands a little bit. Yep, we're doing that. All right, let's glue his head to her. Let's find him a top hat. Is a little too large. All right, we're gonna skip the top hat. I'm gonna grab a purple marker and color in his bow tie. So it's an alcohol ink marker, it's V15. So that one's done. So for this one, we've got, I think it's Spencer. It's one of the Mischievous cats. And to put a face on the cat, these were like little cutout bits that were the discard bits from die cutting something else out of, I think, some orange scrapbook paper. And I forget which die set. It's from the new Vault die set that the mouse came with the witches. I'll leave it listed down below. But what we're going to do is we're going to put him there. We're going to have our kitty cat kind of arm going around like so. Tail like so. So I think I may just go ahead and glue those parts in place to make life a little easier. Then I think I'm gonna do a foam square for the cat's head so it pops up just a little bit. I think I got them from Simon Says Stamp. I think they were part of the, I signed up for their subscription box a couple months ago, and I'm pretty sure it came in the subscription box. And they're a thinner foam square and black, so they're not going to show up too badly when we, you know, out the sides. You're not going to see white. So we're going to add that on there. I'm going to glue this to the back of Spencer. And then we're going to glue the bow to our mouse. So I'm going to put a dab of the bow. And I'm going to angle the mouse so his tail's still showing, so it's clear that, you know, it's basically the bow's tied around the tip of his tail kind of thing. And that's going to go on like that. It's so very silly. All right, let's glue everything down. All right, so that one's done. Next up, we've got this lovely lady. And again, I'm gonna take my knife and cut a slit here along her hand so that we can kind of tuck the flower stem up under her hand so it looks like she's holding it. Like so. I may need to come in with a pen and cover up because some white's showing. And then I decided I wanted to add, this is a Tim Holtz butterfly die, and I die cut it out of scrapbook paper for the solid piece, and obviously the glitter metallic cardstock for the top piece. And again, I'm just going to cut them apart. That lets me adjust the wings so I can have the most wing showing. And yeah, it's going to stick off the side of the piece a little bit, but I'm not too bothered by that because this is, you know, I'm okay with it sticking off a little bit because this is pretty this is pretty solid. I'm not too worried about it getting damaged by the fact that it's sticking off the side. I am bothered by the fact that it's not sticking to her. This glitter cardstock. It's really cool looking, but it's kind of a pain in the neck. Gonna have to redo that wing completely. All right, I'm gonna do this. Set this one aside and work on one of the other ones while it's drying. So I'm gonna set her and her tag aside. Let's do this fellow. I'm gonna ink on here and I'm gonna just use brown. And can you guess what I'm going to stick in his hand? I think in one of the half skulls. Oh, and we're going to add an eyelet to the top of this one. Okay, so I've got my crocodile and I am going to punch a hole using the 1/8 hole punch. It is set on C4. I'm actually gonna grab the hammer and hammer this out a little flatter because it's sticking up a little bit and I'm not liking that. And I'm gonna add a bulb pin because it looks like a light bulb to that. And I'm gonna add a charm, but I don't want it bright silver, so I am going to ink it with an alcohol ink marker. This is C10 because my black has gone on a walkabout. Got our little dangly spider web. So that one's done. Let's bring our lady over and see our wings are stuck. Yay! She's gonna go on like so. I'm gonna adjust the flower so it sits up on there. She needs to stand on something. I think I'm gonna use Poison, which is just a piece I stamped on some antique book page using a Tim Holtz stamp set. Glue to the flower and get it positioned under that wing before the wing dries completely in place, because I want this completely on the tag because it is rather delicate. You know, this has got 2 layers, so it'll stand up to getting moved around without much trouble. And I definitely added too much glue to the back of those. Pull this back over and do that and set it aside, let it finish drying, and while it's drying we will do our last one. Yay, it's the last one. All right, so we've got this fellow, and I'm gonna start by putting one of the poison stickers on his valise. And then in his hand, we're going to cover up the flowers, and I may do a little trim away so that we don't have stuff showing. He's gonna go here. He's gonna be holding a potion bottle, and that's from one of the new Vault die sets, the same one that the mouse came from. I don't remember the name of it. I'll leave that down below. And then what I wanted to do is actually shift these guys over a little bit more and have going across here the stickers that say, we've got Lizard Leg and Howlet's Wing, which is a little on the long side. Dagnabbit. I think what we'll do is cut it. Love Bat and Tongue of Dog. I found the other one. It's Eye of Newt and Toe of Frog. And I think I'm gonna grab Apothecary. Now, I did want to give you a little tip with the potion bottle. What I ended up doing was adding the embossing glaze to the pieces, and I used a craft stick and some red line tape, which I got from Simon Says Stamp. So I'll link that down below because it's heat stable. So you just put a little bit of tape on, stick your piece on, and then you can put your embossing ink on and your glaze and heat emboss it. and not have to worry about it flying everywhere as it normally would given how small it is. There's that guy, and that's everybody. They're done. We have decorated them all. All right, let's see what we did. So we've got our apothecary. We've got our butterfly lady. We got a Pumpkinhead. That one just makes me laugh. We've got our witch with her fluffy dress. We got Spider-Man. We got Batman. Look at all the superheroes are coming out to play. We've got our... Wait, he may be Spencer. Don't know who the... He is then. We've got our bone collector. We've got our moon and our cat. We got our two creepy duos. So the brothers and the brother and sister. I don't know. So if you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.